Thanksgiving Day may be over for 1993, but the Thanksgiving Day football games are not. And today on Adelphia Cable Channel 8, we've got a big one in Thanksgiving Day football because it's going to decide the Shore Conference Class B South Division Championship. And it's Lacey Township against Central Regional at Lacey Township High School. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ken Turpin. With me, Tony Sermarini, and today we've got a kind of a balmy, breezy day. It's unseasonably warm for this time of year, but the wind could be a factor today as it comes out of the northeast. And we just did this game a week ago, and here we are back again. Same team, same place, same uniforms, same coaches, same announcing crew, Tony and I. And this time, instead of a South Jersey Group 3 sectional game with a right to go on to the finals, it's for the Shore Conference Championship. It's 2 days late after Thanksgiving. It was moved because of the state playoff last week. Tony, how about these two teams coming in again? Who do you see having maybe a little advantage? Lacey because they won last week 15-0, maybe confidence that they can beat this team again, or Central Regional because they learned a lot from the Lacey game?
Okay, I give the advantage to Central, and I think it's the revenge factor. I think there are a couple of things that are in favor of Central. First of all, Lacey, unless the kids are inhuman, are going to be looking ahead a little bit to next week's championship game against Egg Harbor Township, which for them is kind of a revenge factor. Egg Harbor beat them in the South Jersey Group 3 championship last year. Secondly, Central has the advantage of losing last week 15-0. So right now, they see themselves as having to prove something. Lacey's already proved that they can beat Central. Central is a good football team, and they want to show that they're the best team in this area, so they want to beat Lacey. So that's an advantage for them. And again, it'll become another chess game. We saw what both teams did last week. Now, if you're Lacey, are you going to stay with what you did? You were successful. You know Central's going to throw some change-ups. So the coaching staffs this week have been moving the chess pieces around, trying to figure out what the other staff is going to do to come up with a victory today.
Tony, Central relies on a balanced offense. They like the arm of Pozo with their good running attack. Last week, the wind and the cold, Central was unable to have their passing game in high gear, although Lacey did an excellent job of putting pressure and containing Pozo on the rollouts. Now, today it's a little warmer, but we still have the wind factor. Last week on our TV screen, it favored a team going right to left. This week it's probably going to be just the opposite. Lacey took advantage of an excellent punter, and Jason Dunn, who pinned them down. It's going to be a little bit different game today. The fact it's not quite as cold, maybe Pozo can throw the ball a little bit better today?
Well, he's going to have to throw the ball today. I think in order for Central to win, they can't beat Lacey just running the football. They're going to have to open it up a little bit and rely on the arm of Jason Pozo. If I'm Central Regional, I'm going to change my defense. I might put 11 men on the line of scrimmage and force the sophomore quarterback to prove that he can beat me, Mike Granado. Not that he's not capable, I'm not saying that, but last week he didn't have the opportunity, or when he threw, he wasn't that successful. So if I'm the coaching staff, the defensive coaches, Vinny Casal and Steve Healy from Central, I'm going to force Mike Granado to throw. Central, I think that Dan Duddy says to himself, I've got the best quarterback, one of the best quarterbacks in the Shore. I'm going to make him prove it today and let him throw the ball, because we have to do that to be successful to open up our running game.
All right, you care to make a prediction today?
I kind of think if it wasn't for the wind again, I really would give the definite advantage. I think it's going to be a real tight game, but I give the advantage a little bit today to Central Regional.
All right, I kind of going to go with the lines of Lacey. I thought they won the battle in the trenches last week, and until Central can win that war, I see Lacey winning again today, but it should be a great game. We've got an added treat for you in the second half. The Lacey's greatest alumnus is here today, Keith Elias, who just was named Ivy League Player of the Year for Princeton University, set all the Princeton rushing and scoring records. He's going to play in the Blue-Gray game on Christmas Day on national TV. He is going to play in Japan with the Ivy League All-Stars. He was invited to the Hula Bowl but turned it down, and that's quite an honor. And we're going to have Keith come up in the second half and kind of analyze the game along with Tony. So hope you'll be with us for that. And we'll be back with a kickoff for today's Shore Conference Class B South Championship. Lacey hosting Central in just a moment.
Thank you. Bought a new car when I was 18. Worked and saved for 2 solid years. Took it out one afternoon. Met a friend behind the school. Sold some coke to this guy he was hanging with. You know, a few bucks to help with the payments. I couldn't believe it. An undercover cop. I paid a $1,000 fine. They took my license away for 6 months and sold my car. But it doesn't matter. I'll be doing a lot of walking for the next 3 years.
All right, we are ready to go with another Lacey Central football game, the second one in a week. And Central came out first. They are across the field in the same uniforms they wore last week, the white shirts and the garnet pants and the gold helmets. And the Lacey Lions, the same uniforms they wore last week, the all-blue look. And the captains are going out for Lacey. It'll be Bill Simonson, number 30, Doug Lemanowitz, number 27, Steve Snoop, number 80, and Jason Dunn, number 14. And the captains for Central, Tony?
Across the field, we have number 77, Slade Ellis, and number 75, Peter Versa.
The officials for today's ball game, Tony Sermarini?
The referee is Hal Clayton. The line judge is Bob Bratton. The field judge is John Doherty. The umpire is Kevin Ty, and the timer is Harry Garb.
We have 6 Central Regional Channel 8 All-Stars in this football game and 5 Lacey Township Channel 8 All-Stars, right, Tony?
Yes, we do.
You want to mention them?
We got, of course, number 88, T.J. Hutler, number 27, Doug Lemanowitz, number 24, Gary Sasala. These boys are all from Lacey, and number 22, Casey Mahoney, along with number 54, Jerry Carraz. For Central, we have number 33, Brian McCall. We have number 77, Slade Ellis. We have number 75, Peter Versa. We have number 89, Charlie Parlapanides. We have number 56, Tony McCurry. And it's, number 12, of course, Jason Pozo, the quarterback, who's an important part of this game today.
And the Coach of the Year is across the way, Dan Duddy of Central. Last year's Coach of the Year is to the near side, Lou Versil, who would share the honor with Dennis Toddings last year, Monsignor Donovan.
Exactly right. You have outstanding coaches, not just the head coaches, but also the assistant coaches on both sides of the field who have contributed greatly to the success of both programs. And I think that that's an important part of being a good head coach, getting assistant coaches and then giving them jobs and letting them do those jobs. If both of these head coaches delegate authority very, very well.
Well, like coming on the field, Central came first. Now taking the field, Central first. Central on the right of your screen will go right to left. The wind this week, just the opposite of last week, it'll come out of the east from behind the Central stands towards us, towards the cameras. And that means that Lacey's going to have the wind with them going left to right starting this game. Jason Dunn will kick off for Lacey Township. And once again, the same return backs for Central Regional. So in the center of the field will be the sophomore Brian Hirschblom, number 27, to return this kickoff.
He's already returned a kickoff for a touchdown this year, along with number 33, Brian McCall, who returned one also.
And you can see the wind isn't as strong as last week, because last week, 3 times the ball blew off the tee, and they had to have a holder for Lacey.
Right.
Here we go. Short Conference Class B South Championship. Hirschblom at the 5, the 10, 15, 20, across the 25 to about the 26-yard line. Nice return of about 21 yards by Brian Hirschblom. Let me set the lineups. Offensively for Central, Channel 8 All-Star Jason Pozo, the quarterback. Brian McCall, the tailback. Andy Parks will be the fullback. The wingback will be Walter Dudley, and the left end is Charlie Parlapanides. The right end is Jim Zellman. I'll give you the line in a moment. 1st and 10. McCall. Lacey throws it for a loss of about a yard. And the whole left side of the Lacey line in on the stop. Let me give you the offensive line for Central. Pat Tunney is the center. He's a senior. The guards are juniors, Tony McCurry and Jason Montero. The tackles are seniors, Peter Versa and Slade Ellis. Second down 11 for Central Regional. McCall picks up maybe a yard straight ahead. On the tackle, Matt Quintana, the nose tackle, on the Lacey defense.
Right.
Greg Hausworth and T.J. Hutler, the ends. Rob Frazee and Matt Quintana, the tackles. It'll be Chris Bergstrom, Casey Mahoney, Steve Stoop at linebacker, Brian Tamel, Mike Pluta, the corners, and Bill Simonson and Doug Lamanowitz, the safeties.
Right, as I said early in the game, I think that Central has to open it up, and the first two plays were stuffed by the Lacey. They've got to open it up and let Pozo throw the ball.
Pozo on the keeper, and Pozo held to about a yard.
Excellent. They tried to run almost, it looked like a quarterback draw. He dropped back and then just took off upfield, but unfortunately was shadowed by number 22, Casey Mahoney, who was one of our players of the game. Couple of things that will come into play here today are the defense of Lacey. Can they be as successful as they were last week? And also the kicking game.
Tommy Loudon will punt. It's a short punt. The wind holds it up. And everybody gets away from it. We don't want a Miami Dolphins, Dallas Cowboys fiasco. And Central gives up that football on their own 46-yard line after the short punt.
Right, last week when we were here, Central came out and opened the game with a very successful drive. Once again, Lacey's defense has been outstanding, and I think we'll see some changes on defense for Central today. They'll give us a little bit of a different look to stop that successful Lacey running game.
The quarterback, a sophomore, Mike Granato, the fullback, Casey Mahoney, and the tailback, Gary Sasala. Give you the rest of the Lacey lineup in a moment. Central jumps offside. Peter Aversa, a little anxious. Number 75 in white, the right tackle. And that's going to be 5-yard penalty against the Golden Eagles to the 40-yard line. It'll be 1st and 5. The rest of the lineup for Lacey, the flanker is going to be between 3 people. Jason Dunn, Bill Simonson, and Mike Pluta, the alternate. The split end is Dave Pastrichello. And the tight end, Kurt Bender. The centers, Chuck Boyer. The guards, juniors, Jerry Carras and Mike Dolan. And the tackles are a senior, Rob Schinder, and a junior, Rich Diab. Granato to Pastrichello. Looking for room. Gets maybe a yard to the 39-yard line. Gang tackling by Walter Dudley and Charlie Parla-Panides and a lot of other Golden Eagles. Let me set the defense. Parla-Panides is one of the ends. The other end today is going to be Mike Steers, but you're going to see others in there. Pat Tunney. The tackles, Jason Montero and Peter Aversa. Paul Dasty will also be in there. Dasty's in there right now. Linebackers, Walter Dudley, Tony McCurry, Lonnie Howe, and John Tice moves from corner to linebacker. Tommy Kern switches to corner with Jason Pozo. Sasel on his way. Sasel may go all the way. Sasel, touchdown, Lacey. 39-yard run, Tony. Tailback and Channel 8 All-Star Gary Sasel, 39-yard run, and Lacey scores quickly. Six to nothing, Lacey Township. Jason Dunn, number 14, will attempt the extra point. The holders, Bill Simonson, and Chuck Boyer, the center, does the snapping. Time in the score, 8:38 of the opening quarter. Kick is good. Lacey 7 and Central Regional 0.
Once again, what you have is the offensive line of Lacey doing an outstanding job. Watch you, Gary Sasal just find his blocks. See downfield, you see 54 Carras get in there, and now you see Doug Lamanowitz getting a piece of a block downfield to help him get into the end zone. One of the things that you don't want to do to Lacey Township if you're Central Regional is you don't want to give him the ball in 4-down position, and that's what happened. The kicking game has been a thorn in the side all year for Central, and right there it hurt them again.
All right. Central waiting for Lacey. Lacey huddling around Coach Lou Bersillo. Now Lacey takes the field. Again, the deep back is Brian Hirschblad, and to the far side, Tim Fogarty. To the near side, that 33, Tony?
Yeah, it's Brian McCall.
Brian McCall.
You know, Jason Dunn was an important part of the victory last week. He had a nice kickoff to start the game. Central's punting game has been a problem all year. It was a problem last week. The first punt of the game was a problem.
Jason Dunn was named one of the players of the game for his excellent punting last week.
And also, if you watch him on his kickoffs, he puts the ball high and deep, gives him a chance to
Wind
get the
blew
ball.
off the tee, Tony.
Right. But, you know, he gets the ball high and deep, gets the cover team a chance to get down there. Now, as I said early on, I think that Central's going to have to open up and let Jason Pozo throw on first and second down.
Here we go with the kickoff. A low line drive kick bounces past Hirschblad. Fogarty from the 3-yard line. Fogarty is rocked. What a hit at the 20-yard line. And making the stop was number 34, Art Brannigan.
He's a backup running back who sometimes goes in when they go to the power I set. You saw him flying downfield, made an outstanding tackle on number 20, Tim Fogarty.
Brannigan, a 5'6", 150-pounder, hits like a 250-pounder, and he is a junior. Here's a replay.
Just watch him. Watch number 34 fly right in here and make a good hit right there. Just got his head across and took the feet out of Fogarty.
There was an 18-yard return on the play by Fogarty. From the 21, first down, and Pozo incomplete, trying to go to Mike Steers, number 44 in white.
Anything short or intermediate, I don't think will be affected by the wind because of the strength of Jason Pozo's arm. Isn't that exactly what I thought? They'd have to come out on first and second down to get the pressure off Pozo and let him throw when Lacey isn't expecting it or doesn't have a pass rush on.
Second 11, I formation. Mccall is the tailback. McCall coming to the near side. McCall gets a little bit of a hole, and he's up to the 26-yard line. Tackle made by number 41, Mike Pluta.
Good defensive job there by number 40, another player of the game last week, Chris Bergstrom. He forced McCall to come up inside so Pluta can come up and make a tackle for about a 5 or 6 yard gain.
Bergstrom was named Defensive Player of the Game for the pressure he put on Pozo last week. And the Offensive Player of the Game last week was fullback Casey Mahoney, who also plays tailback. They alternate both Sasel and Mahoney in that tailback slot. Pozo gets the time, throws to Parks out of the backfield, and Parks is rocked right away. Good defensive play by Rob Frazee, 5'11", 225-pound junior tackle.
A lot of people that we could have mentioned last week for players that came, and Rob Frazee was one of them. Their offensive line, Diab and Boyer and Carraz, just a whole team effort last week, and we're seeing the same kind of effort today from Lacey Township.
4th and 5, Central to punt. Loudon fielded on the midfield stripe by Pestricello, and he's knocked out of bounds. There is a flag, maybe a face mask.
Face mask. You don't realize how important it is that Dave Pestricello made that play. He just stops the ball from rolling and gives Lacey good field position. You always tell your punt returners, don't let that ball roll. And Dave saw it take a nice bounce. He picked it up and made a real plus. And Lacey's going to start in plus territory again. The one thing you don't want to do if you're Central is let them start in 4-down territory with their running game.
Penalty will take it inside the 40-yard line to the Central 38. How about some stats on the first matchup of these teams last week, Tony?
Okay, Lacey had 140 or 50 yards, about 150 yards rushing, and no yards in the air. Central had 84 yards rushing and 50 yards passing. So total yardage, it was very close. It's just that Lacey had none in the air, and they've had some already. They've had a completion today.
I believe Central out first down them last week, right?
Yes, they did.
Here we go, Sasel, and he's down to the 35-yard line, pickup of about 4. Second down coming up for the Lacey Lions. They lead early here today, 7-0.
And again, a nice job by the offensive line in getting off the ball and into the Central defense. So Gary Sasala gets 4 yards and doesn't really have to do a whole lot. When they get him a little bit further, he'll make a cut and he'll be gone again if they continue to dominate the line of scrimmage. One of the things that Central coaches were worried about.
Second and going to call it 7. Granado throws his first pass, incomplete, trying to go to Pestricello. Penalty, Tony?
No.
What do you say?
That's his second pass. He completed one.
Yeah, okay.
Caught that quick hit pass.
I thought that was a lateral. I didn't.
Okay, well, they'll call the pass in the
was that considered a forward pass?
Yeah, probably. In
right.
the stats. And again, both of them have been to Pestricello. I think what they're trying to do is establish a short passing game to give Mike Granado confidence so that they can use that passing game.
Two tight ends, Bender and Stoop. Pestricello to the far side. I should say Jason Dunn. And here comes Sasel to the 31-yard line. Another flag? Or is that I see a little piece of paper.
It's a piece of paper.
Okay. And it's going to bring up fourth down. Is that fourth down already, Tony?
Yeah, it's fourth down. But
quick.
Again, you're in four down territory, and that's what you don't want. Central doesn't want to give Lacey 4 downs to run the ball with their powerful running attack. This is a big defensive play.
Tony McCurry calling the defensive signals, a linebacker for Central. He gets them from the defensive coordinators, Vinny Casal and Steve Healy. Slot formation. Jason Dunn in motion. Granado looking at Dunn. And he throws to Dunn, complete, in front of the Lacey bench and then out of bounds at the 30-yard line. That's going to be
not a first
short
down.
of a first down by at least a yard, maybe more.
Okay, Jason
so
Pozo
over here.
Jason Pozo over there helping the officials make that decision. He's into this game. He's ready to play. And that's a good defensive stand by Central because Lacey had good field position to start with off the punt and the penalty.
5:24 left to go.
Right now, see Mike Granado looking, and now he just fires the ball. Good action, good catch, but you've got to get to the first down marker.
Central holds midway through the first quarter, trailing 7-0. All right, Brian McCall, the top scorer this year for Central Regional, and he's up across the 30-yard line, and he gets a gain of about a yard, maybe 2. Give him 2, 2nd and 8.
Play made by strong safety Bill Simonson, who almost plays in an outside linebacker position in this Lacey defense.
Central stays in an I formation. Andy Parks is the up back. Pozo to throw, and incomplete. Try to go to number 42 of the Golden Eagles coming out of the backfield, and that's Andy Parks, the fullback, who was the up back in the I formation.
And again, we see that Lacey's defense is changing on just about every play, but once again, Central is throwing the ball to take advantage of the arm of Pozo and some of their skill people, and I think that they have to do that to be successful against this tough Lacey defense. 3rd and 8
for the Golden Eagles. Thank you, Candyman. Candyman has given us some candy here. Pozo gets the time, rifles the ball, and it's dropped. Hit his man, but he couldn't hold on to it. And it looks like one of those ends.
Was 88 Jim Zellman.
And
one thing you have to understand is that ball was thrown into the wind and hit number 88 Jim Zellman right between the 8s. And I think it just gives us an example of the strong arm that Jason Pozo has. Again, they can throw the ball with that arm, but they have to catch it.
Here's Loudon with a punt. Pretty good punt. And it's going to go take a big Lacey roll. It bounced on the 48 of Lacey and then rolled down to the Central 45-yard line. Took about a 7-yard bounce for Lacey.
And once again, Lacey's in great field position. They have to take advantage of it.
All
see
right,
the Lacey Central sideline, see their coaches exhorting their players. They've changed defensively, and they're trying to stop this running attack, which they did in the last series.
Well, Lacey copying Central with those 2 tight ends. Power I formation. Sasel down to about the 40-yard line. It'll be gain of about 4. 2nd down coming up.
There was nothing there. That was defense pretty well, but Gary Sasel just stayed behind the blockers and picked his way and picked up close to 4 yards.
You're watching the Shore Conference Class B South Championship football game at Lacey Township High School. This is the Thanksgiving Day game played 2 days later. The fact that these two teams met last Saturday in the South Jersey Group 3 playoffs with Lacey winning 15-0. Now we're playing the Thanksgiving game. That was the wingback who carried the ball for Lacey, Art Brannigan, who made that great hit on a special team.
Right, and the tackle was made by number 25, Lonnie Howe, the linebacker, who was on an inside stunt and just ran right into him and knocked him down for no gain, and now we've got 3rd and about 6.
Pestricella and Dunn come in for Lacey, the wide receiver, so apparently they're going to throw. They bring in the wide look instead of the 2 tight ends. Tight end lines up on the right side. That's Stoop.
Getting a 5-man front from Central.
Renato looking downfield. Now he's looking to the right. Stoop on a little bit of a screen. And Stoop takes a loss on the play. Central all over Steve Stoop. And Tony McCurry, who calls the signals on defense, was there, the linebacker for the Golden Eagles.
One of the things that Lacey has been very successful on all year is throwing screen passes. And you can see how well prepared the Central defense is for that kind of thing.
All right. Here's a low snap. Dunn gets it, and he gets off the punt, a nice punt. And Hirschblom signals for a fair catch, and that ball goes into the end zone, and Dunn handled that low snap very well and got it off.
Got off an excellent punt. The best thing that happened to Brian Hirschblom is he slipped going backwards, and the ball sailed over his head into the end zone. So if he'd have caught it, he'd have pinned Central extremely deep.
You can see what that wind can do.
Here's
today.
a replay of the 3rd down screen. Look at how Central picks it up. Parlapanides is there, McCurry is there, Mccall is there. Just about their whole defense read that screen and were over there to make the play.
Central begins the series on their own 20-yard line. 2 minutes and 20 seconds left in the first quarter. 7-0 Lacey. All right, Lacey defense led by Cutano stacks it up.
Cutano
about a yard, Tony.
Right, Cutano, Frazee, Hutler, they have done an outstanding job all year. And in the last 2 weeks, I think that they have been the difference. Both the offensive and defensive lines of Lacey have been able to get into Central's offensive and defensive lines and win the game for Lacey.
2nd down from the 19-yard line. Lone back, one back behind the quarterback. Everybody else in tight wing right. Pozo keeps it. And Pozo can't really turn a corner. Maybe back to the line of scrimmage, but he really didn't gain anything. Maybe a yard.
Once again, Lacey keeps flip-flopping their defenses when they think they're going to run and throw from calls coming in from Coach Ed Heffernan. That time they were in a 4-man front. The outside linebacker was Simonson. And Pozo faked the ball up inside, tried to go outside, and he was tackled by number 30, Bill Simonson.
Actually, I think he lost another yard, so it's going to be 3rd down, about 12 for the Golden Eagles. We have 1 minute and 38 seconds to go here in the opening quarter.
The one thing that Central wants to do is get to the 2nd quarter so they get the wind at their back. That's been a definite help to Lacey in this 1st quarter.
Twin wideouts to the near side for Central. I formation. Pozo looking to throw to one of those wideouts on the near side. Incomplete over Hirschblom. He got his hands on it, but a little bit high. And, of course, if you get your hands on it, you should catch it.
Exactly. They tell you if you get your hands on it. And that was thrown well by Jason Pozo again. And, again, right before he got hit by T.J. Hutler, he let it go and had it right there on the money.
So right. Loudon getting a workout here in the 1st quarter. Tony's a 3rd punt?
3rd punt already.
Into the wind. Loudon's going to be glad to see that ball switch around the other way here. Good snap. And it's coming to Lomanowitz at the 40, 30, and Zender wraps him up, and Lomanowitz doesn't go down easily, and there's a flag, maybe a face mask.
I don't know, but I'll tell you what, Lomanowitz, Lacey has done something different this week. And last week in their special teams, they have 3 people deep to catch the punts. So if the ball's sprayed all over the field, the possibility of catching the ball before it hits the ground and rolls. And that time it paid off because Doug Lemanis was able to catch that ball that was heading for the near sideline and take it upfield.
15-yarder against Lacey.
Here's the replay right here of the pass on 3rd down. You can see it go right through number 27, Brian Hirschblom's hands.
clipping against the Lacey Lions.
But
and
there's
the ball goes back to the 38-yard line where Lacey puts it in play.
But still, they're in plus territory.
1 minute and 10 seconds left in this quarter. Lacey Township leading Central Regional 7-0. It's the sprint draw by Sasel inside the 30-yard line. Nice gain and very close for a first down. First down, Lacey Township.
Once again, the offensive line is getting off the ball. People like Diab and Carraz and Boyer and those people are doing, Tim Dolan, they're all blocking very, very well, and that's making it easy. You can see it right here. Watch the left side of the offensive line come off, and a block there by number 22 kicking out, Casey Mahoney, to enable Gary Sasel to get 10 yards.
Sasel, the slot back this time, they give to Mahoney, and he's stacked up. Oh, he's still on his feet. He's not going to gain anything. Boy, it takes 5. Golden Eagles will finally bring him down. We have 25 seconds to go here in a period. Clock running. Casey Mahoney, probably the strongest running back, no doubt, on the Lacey team. Maybe the strongest running back on the field.
The strongest running back in the Shore, maybe. I mean, he just didn't refuse to get down and took a beating for that play.
Loss of, call it 3, second and 13. I don't think they're going to get a playoff here. No, they won't. That's the end of the quarter. With the score, Lacey Township line 7, Central Regional Golden Eagles nothing. You're watching Adelphia Cable, Channel 8 in Toms River. This is the Shore Conference, Class B South, championship football game. Right now, Lacey leads. They are in first place. I should say Central leads. Lacey has to beat them today
right.
in the B Division Championship. We'll be back. Tony Sermarini and yours truly, Ken Turp, in just a moment.
Want to do something really nice for your friends? Next time you go out with them, if they're going to be drinking alcohol, offer to be the designated driver for the evening. That means you stick to non-alcoholic drinks and drive everyone home safely. Next time, one of them can do the same thing for you. You could be saving them from being arrested or having a serious accident. You could even be saving their lives. Now that's what I call a friend. For more information on drinking and driving, write the Will Rogers Institute, White Plains, New York.
As we begin the second quarter of today's game, Lacey has a second and 13 at the 31-yard line. Casey Mahoney and Central gang tackling once again. That's about the only way you stop Casey Mahoney. Tony McCurry was there. John Tice, who played a great game last week for Central, to make the stop.
Tice did such a good job at defensive back making tackles that they moved him up to linebacker this week to help out. Also on that play was number 44, Mike Steers. Talking about, if you've looked in the papers, they have some things wrong in the paper about the B South. They have Lacey in first place, but really they're not, because they're only 4-0-1. Last week's game did not count in the standings.
Here's a third down play, 3rd and 12. Renato throws. Casey Mahoney to the 20, to the 18-yard line, and just short of a first down. Tony, while we got a chance, why don't you give the exact standings in the B Division South?
B South, Central's in first place. They're 5-0. Second place, Lacey's 4-0-1. Manchester's 3-2-1. South is 2-3-1. Pinelands is 2-4-1. Freehold is 2-4, and Freehold Township is 0-6. The key is at the top. Those games that they played last week didn't count. So Central's in first. If Central ties today, Central and Lacey tie, Central is the champion.
So Lacey needs an outright victory to take the B Division South Championship that they've won 5 years in a row.
Exactly right.
4th and 1. Casey Mahoney. He's got a first down. McCurry tackles him from behind. By the way, the last time Lacey didn't win this outright, they shared it with Central. I believe it was 1988. And they played up at Central. Keith Elias scored 2 touchdowns in the first half, and then the trainer did not allow him to play the second half. He had bruised ribs, and Central rallied behind Chip Chevalier, to win the game in the final minute of play.
That's exactly right. Chip Chevalier, right this year, who has just graduated from Swarthmore, where he's an all-star in the Middle Atlantic Conference, is helping Jason Pozo at the quarterback position.
Well, that created a tie in the B Division. Central shared the title with Lacey in '88. And that was the only losing game I think Keith Elias played in his career.
Right. And, of course, he had at Princeton this year, and he'll be up in the second half. In 3 years, each year they were 8-2 at Princeton. So he was very successful up there, and the team was very successful with him as their running back.
What had happened was Keith had gotten hurt in the playoff game the Saturday before, and was actually, I believe, spitting up some blood with his ribs injured, and they were watching him very closely. And he did play the first half of the Central game, but then they precautionary move, playing it safe. Trainer said you can't go in the second half, and Central Regional had a good team that year, and that was a good game. There you see Lou Brasillo, the head coach of Lacey. What a career he's had. And Rich Stratton, I believe, with a headset next to him. There's the coaches up top. You see Ron Emmert up there?
See Ron Emmert with his old beady, ratty hat.
Our former Channel 8 color analyst, now back in coaching with the Lacey Lions.
Next to Ron was Chip Peterson, who works with the line here at Lacey.
We want to thank John Gardy once again, the Director of Athletics here at Lacey, for letting us tape today's game. All right, here we getting ready to go here. It's a first down for Lacey. They're at the 18-yard line of Central. Lacey leads 7-0. Renato looking to throw. Incomplete. Looking for Jason Dunn in the end zone, but threw short.
And again, he had pressure coming in his face by number 44, Mike Steers, who forced him to throw a little prematurely. He couldn't follow through, but Dunn was open in the end zone.
2nd and 10 for the Lions. Lou Brasillo signaling the play to the sophomore quarterback. Renato, 6'1", 175-pounder.
He's a real find here and has been doing a real good job for Lacey as a sophomore, has led them to an 8-0-1 record. But again, last week he wasn't very successful throwing. It looks like this week that Lacey is determined that they're going to let him throw the football, and he's doing a real fine job here in the first half.
Split backfield, Mahoney on the left. Renato getting good blocking, gets it off, picked off at the 7. Jason Pozo down the near sideline, and knocked out of bounds at the 47-yard line of Lacey.
Tackle was made by number 54, Jerry Carraz. Jason Pozo from his defensive back position read that all the way. The drag with Stoop coming across the field. And you can watch the replay right here. Watch him. He steps up and throws the ball well. It's just that number 12 read the play the whole way. He had the ball there. Threw it well. It's just that Jason Pozo made an outstanding defensive play and has put Central in good field position at midfield.
One quarterback intercepts the other quarterback. Now Pozo goes on offense. Split backfield, Parks and McCall. McCall to the 48-yard line, gain of about 2. Tackle made by Steve Stoop. And Casey Mahoney getting up a little slow.
He may be getting up slow, but he'll be back in there. He's a tough kid.
2nd and 8. We have an official's timeout. I have no idea why he called timeout, but he did. Here we go. Full house backfield. We haven't seen that yet today, Tony. Pozo is going to take a loss. Steve Stoop, but T.J. Hutler was the first one in there.
Exactly. T.J. Hutler, and again, the defense by Ed Heffernan. They don't want Jason Pozo to get out on the corner where he can pass or run. They brought T.J. Hutler hard from the outside, and then they brought Stoop on a middle stunt to put pressure up inside. When he turned up inside, there was Steve Stoop to make the tackle for the loss.
Loss of 5 on a play, 3rd and 13 for the Golden Eagles back at their own 47-yard line.
Really got to like the defensive schemes being used by Lacey Township.
Pat Tunney, the center for the Golden Eagles. He's a senior, a veteran. Pozo wants a pass. Pozo's going to scamper. throws to the far side, throws it away. Hutler once again comes up on Pozo, and they may call intentional grounding. There was no receiver in the area, Tony.
I'll tell you what, Jason Pozo showed some great poise there. I don't know about that. You've got a kid doing the right thing there. I think that he did the right thing. And again, he's getting punished for doing the right thing. What's he supposed to do? Keep the ball and get hurt? Ridiculous.
Big series by T.J. Hutler, 2 big plays on defense, and they're going to march the penalty. Pozo pleaded his case to the official, but to no avail. And that's going to push Central way back. They do have the win with them now behind Loudon. Loudon finally getting a chance to kick into with the win. Ball way back at the 29-yard line.
That was a tremendous loss there.
Punt is coming to the near side. Pestrocella backs away, goes out of bounds around the 39-yard line.
That's a nice kick by Tommy Loudon. And again, when you get that wind, he gets the ball up. It's not affected. It's when you're kicking into the wind, if you kick it high, that it's affected, and the wind will knock it down or knock it back, as we saw in his first punt of the game.
So Lacey takes over. 8:15 left to play in the first half. Lacey 7, Central nothing. This is the Shore Conference Championship ball game.
After the first series, Central has done a good job on defense of slowing Lacey down.
I formation, twin wideouts to the far side for Lacey. Sasel across the 40. Sasel keeps moving the feet across the 45 to about the 46-yard line. Nice run by Gary Sasel. Picks up about 5 or 6.
That play is called the sprint draw, Ken. What they do is Gary Sasel takes a couple of parallel steps and waits until Mike Granado brings the ball back to him. It looks like Mike might be running a sprint out pass, and what you try to do is get the linebackers to drop off so Gary Sasala can run upfield, and that's what they did there. He got about 6 or 7 yards.
Kurt Bender, the tight end, brings the play in, replacing Stoop. 2nd and 4 for Lacey. Fumble. Little mix-up there. I think the guard pulled out and bumped into Granado, Tony.
And Granado's holding his hand. That's not a good sign, because for Lacey, if he's hurt, they'd have to bring in a freshman quarterback, because their second quarterback, a sophomore, has Osgood-Schlatter disease and is in a cast. So they'd bring in a freshman quarterback if Granado goes down.
Lost about 3 on a play on a fumble. 3rd down 7 for Lacey Township. The ball is on the 43-yard line of Lacey Township.
That was their counter Trey played it, and the guard hit him as he was coming across.
Jason Dunn comes in motion. Dunn leading the blocking. Mahoney blocking for Sasala across the 50 to the Central 48-yard line. That should be a first down.
Well, that's a good combination. You got a big, strong blocker in number 22, and you got an excellent runner in 24, Gary Sasala, who's a member of the Channel 8 All-Star team and will probably be one of the leaders in the All-Star teams all over the state.
Tommy Carnes made
right
the stop here for Central.
See the replay right here. Look at the block by 22, who really didn't do a great deal that time, but just
Lonnie
creates
Howe
a lane.
also in there for Central. 6:39 left to play here. Lacey on the attack. We got an injury here? Yes, we do. We can't really see it unless we look at the monitor. Mahoney again.
Casey Mahoney, that's something that would be devastating, I think, for Lacey.
I said again, I meant before he got up a little slowly. He wasn't hurt, but this time
he's down, and he's being attended to by the Lacey trainer.
They cannot afford to lose Casey Mahoney today.
It's too valuable both ways.
Well, we have this delay, Tony. How about we mentioned our Lacey and Central Channel 8 All-Stars. Let's mention some of the other players named last week. Our centers, Barrett Cervetto of Pinelands and Mike Gorga of North, are seniors. Our linemen on offense, Jerry Carras of Lacey, a junior. Dave Garbarino of Toms River North, a senior. Bill Brussman, Monsignor Donovan senior. Slade Ellis, Central Regional senior. Mike Healy, Toms River East senior. Casey gets up, gets a hand from the Lacey cheering section. Our quarterbacks, besides Jason Pozo, was Jamie Toddings at Donovan. He was a player of the year. And the running backs, besides Sasel and Brian Mccall of Central, were Ryan Concord of Donovan and Amir Dew of Farragut. He is a sophomore. We'll run those down as we go on. Here's maybe an offsides against Central, the right side of their defense jump. 5-yard penalty against the Eagles. Takes it to the 43-yard line. There's Casey Mahoney being attended to.
On the sideline, it looks like maybe he's got some kind of problem in his shoulder or his neck, and they're going to attend to him and make sure he's healthy before he goes back in the game.
1st and 5 for Lacey. Pestricello and Lemanowitz to the far side as receivers. Sasel, no, it's 34. That's Brannigan. And Brannigan gains about a yard. They'll bring up 2nd and 4 for Lacey Township.
Something that I have to realize is Casey Mahoney missed their 8th game of the year against Pinelands, and Art Brannigan came in and did a nice job. As a matter of fact, he had a 70-yard run for a touchdown called back. So he's played and he's battle-tested, so they're not losing a great deal. I think their big problem might be defensively.
Brannigan again, the ball carry. Brannigan running hard. He's got a first down. He takes it across the 40 to the Central 37, 38-yard line. I'll mark it 38, and that's a first down.
And once again, Lacey just keeps going on. They put another cog in there and just keep running let their offensive line do the job. I think that's one of the things that people don't realize, what a good job Rich Stratton does with the offensive line here, because it doesn't really matter who's running the football. People are gaining yards. All they did was move number 24, Gary Sasel, to 40 to fullback and put number 34, Brannigan, in a tailback.
First down play for Lacey. Again, they get to Brannigan. Sasel blocking. Brannigan cuts it outside, and Brannigan just short of a first down by about a yard. Almost broke it for a touchdown. And Central Regional's Brian Mccall saved the touchdown. I believe it was Mccall, 33, made the tackle.
Right, but one thing you see there is Art Brannigan made his start to the left, saw an opening, and used his quickness to get back to the right. Watch him. He sees a little crack, and boom, he just explodes. And if Mccall doesn't make that tackle, that's a touchdown. I mean, he's one tackle away from being in the end zone.
2nd and 1 for the Lions. Again, the I formation, Sasala and Brannigan. Brannigan again. Brannigan first down. And Brannigan takes it inside the 25-yard line. Lacey Township on the move with Brannigan behind Sasala.
You got to have to, there's some things that have to go in here. You have Gary Sasala, who's a premier runner, moving to a blocking position, because when you're playing the up back, that's basically a blocker. And you're giving up a lot of the things that you would have been doing and doing it for the sake of the team, and that's what he's doing.
3 minutes, 58 seconds to play and a half. Lacey sends Lemanowitz to the near side as the flanker. They split it in on their far side. And Brannigan gets another call. Brannigan spins off a tackle. He was hit, and he kept going. He ran right over one of the Golden Eagles back by the line of scrimmage. And he's got a nice gain again for Lacey Township, 6-yard pickup.
Right, and he's doing a nice job following Gary Sasala. But as we look down on the sideline, I see that the trainer is doing some tests on
it's like
you
the
can
left
see it,
shoulder.
right, on the shoulders of Casey Mahoney, and they're not going to let him go in until they're sure that there's nothing wrong.
2nd and 4 at the 18-yard line. Brannigan has carried the ball, 4 straight plays, Tony? Takes it down to the 15-yard line.
A minimum of 4 straight plays. He's carried the ball at least 4, and he has been very successful. But the credit right now has to go to the offensive line. They're getting off the ball and giving him an opportunity to get into the Central defense. And that's the plus here. Their offensive line has risen to the occasion and is blocking so well.
3rd and 2 for Lacey. And they stay in the same formation, the I formation, with Brannigan at tailback. 2 wideouts to the near side. Whistle. Maybe the defense jumped again at the last second. That'll give Lacey a first down.
But Again, you look out there at that offensive line of Lacey, number 53, Rob Schinder, number 51, Boyer, the center, number 76, Mike Dolan, 75, Rich Diab, and number 54, Jerry Carraz. They're getting into the defense of Central.
Illegal procedure against Lacey, so it's a 5-yard penalty against the Lions. Brings up a 3rd and 7 for Lacey Township. 2 minutes and 26 seconds left in the half. We were talking to Granato's brother down at the Southern Regional game. He was right in front of us on the visiting side where we do the ball game at Southern, and told us he got a late start in football. Didn't play but a year or two before he got to high school. Here's Brannigan. He stopped at the line of scrimmage.
56, Tony McCurry in on the tackle, and again, he played an excellent game last week for Central. He's doing the same thing today.
Lonnie Howe was also there. The linebacker lost a yard. 4th down coming up here, and they need a little over 7.
What do you do here, Ken? What do you do?
Well, they're going to talk it over. Granato calls a timeout for Lacey with 1 minute and 42 seconds left in the first half. So Lou Versillo and Ron Emmert and the rest of the staff will talk this one over, Rich Stratton, and decide what they're going to do. Wanted to mention some more of our All-Stars while we have a chance for Channel 8 this year. Our wide receiver was Ken Malshney of Toms River North, a senior. You mentioned Hutler's on our defense.
Hutler and of course
Panides.
Parla Panides. You got Aversa, and of course from Toms River South, Mike Moran at defensive line. Rich Lurch from Toms River North, the defensive line, and Lou Pascavage from Pinelands Regional. The linebackers?
Devin Murray of Pinelands was a linebacker. Mike Grimes of Southern. Casey Mahoney's one of our linebackers on the All-Stars this year. And his counterpart, Tony McCurry of Central Regional. And Frank Doherty of Toms River North. So we had 5 linebackers. Our defensive backs, Dan Carney of East, Keith Jacobs of Donovan, Doug Lemanowitz of Lacey Township, and Josh Overholt of Pinelands Regional, and a player who's going to be very good before he's through at Manchester, sophomore Joe Mickens. Special teams, Tony?
We have our punter, Joe Falzone, place kicker, Jason Haig from Monsignor Donovan, and the return back, who's also an outstanding running back, Mike Ozerwitz of Toms River South.
And Falzone from Pinelands Regional, and he'll be back next year. And then we mentioned Jamie Toddings of Donovan, quarterback, defensive back, player of the year, and Dan Duddy, coach of the year. So we'll have our special awards in January on our special show we do every year in the studio. Here we go, 4th down for Lacey. Tony says, what are they going to do? They line up in an I formation. And they're going to pass. Maybe a screen over the middle. And it's incomplete. That's what they were trying to set up, Tony.
Again, the pressure forced Granado to throw the ball high over the intended receiver's hands, number 14. They're running a wide receiver screen, bringing them across the middle, and have the line get out in front of them and try to get the first down that way. Unfortunately, there was a big pressure by Aversa and Dasty. Here you can see it right now. Watch Aversa just come upfield and force him to put it up high over number 14, Dunn's hands.
Central takes over at their own 20. First down, flag in the air. And that's completed for an 8-yard gain, but we do have a penalty. It was Ed Maturo, sophomore, on the reception for Central Regional.
And the penalty was too many men on the field for Lacey. Casey Mahoney was on, and they didn't. Jerry Carraz filled his linebacker position when he got hurt, and there was some confusion. So that's going to be, I think it might be a 15-yard penalty.
Well, Lacey scored first possession of the ball game, but haven't scored since. It's 1:32 left in the half. It's still 7-0, Lacey.
I guess it was a 5-yard penalty because he was trying to get off, and they refused the penalty and took the play.
All right, 2nd down and short 3. Pozo has again Maturo, and Maturo runs out of bounds, stops the clock, and it's a first down for Central at the 41-yard line.
One thing you can be sure of, that he can throw the ball, and if those receivers are going to catch it, he can march them right down the field. He's got plenty of time.
I said 41. It's a 36-yard line for Central. Hirschblom comes to the near side. They set up a slot formation with the twin wideouts. And again, a first down, and Parla Panides. Was that Parla Panides?
Yes, it was.
Yes,
It was
he
Parla
runs out of
Panides.
bounds on the far side. the left end. Another first down for the Golden Eagles. They're moving.
Right, they've got all their wide receivers in. I see they have another sophomore in there. That was John Tice on that reception. On this side, they have number 28, Tanner Barrett, another sophomore who's an outstanding athlete, good baseball and basketball player also.
Pozo, Central jumps offside. The split end on the far side jumped off, and that'll cost Central.
With the strong arm that Jason Pozo has, he can march him right down the field in a minute and 17 seconds if they use their timeouts and sidelines wisely.
That's John Tice over there?
That's John Tice over there. It's Brian Hirschblond. It's Tanner Barrett. They're three sophomore receivers.
First and 15. Pozo has to get away from the heat. He completes the pass, and they take a loss on the play. A lot of pressure by Stoop and Hutler once again on Pozo.
One thing that Central is an adjustment they've made. Instead of trying to put Pozo on a corner because Lacey is coming so hard on the outside, they're dropping him straight back and just blocking those guys out.
2nd and 11 for Central Regional at the 46-yard line. They run it with Parks. He takes a loss of a yard. And Bergstrom was in there. Stoop was in there. And it looked like 78, Rob Frazee in there on the stop. Timeout.
See how hard it is to run on that Lacey defense, and they're having much more success throwing the ball.
1:06 left to play in this first half of football, and it's 3rd down and about 12 for the Golden Eagles.
You can see the Lacey huddle here. You see their coaches preparing these guys defensively of what to expect in this last minute and 6 seconds. See Rich Stratton telling the defensive linemen what they have to do, how they have to put pressure on number 12, Jason Pozo.
Channel 8 will be back here again next week for the state championship game in South Jersey, Group 3. And it'll be Lacey Township, regardless of what happens in this ball game, hosting the Egg Harbor Township team that they lost to in the playoffs here last year on this field. It'll be a rematch. And Rick McDonough and George Jeck will be here to bring you that game.
That's exactly right. We got the opportunity to do that game last year that Egg Harbor won 14-0.
3rd and 12 for the Golden Eagles. Pozo. He's hit as he throws, and Pluta almost had an interception there, and Pozo's on the ground back at the 41-yard line. Bergstrom got in there with Hutler.
Hutler and Bergstrom. Last week they did an outstanding job at defensive end. Once again this week they're doing an outstanding job of putting pressure on Jason Pozo, number 12.
4th down for the Golden Eagles, and Loud comes on the field. Lamatowicz is the deep back for the Lions.
Nice kick.
That's going to roll way down into the end zone, away from Lamatowicz.
Kick that ball 50 yards. Unfortunately, he's going to lose 20 because it's going to come out to the 20 because it rolled into the end zone. It was a nice kick by Tom Loudon.
All right, Lacey takes over. Final minute here. We're under a minute to play. And Lacey clinging to a 7-0 lead. I'm trying to remember, was it 7-0 last week at the half?
Yeah, yes, it was. It
so
was
we got
7-0.
the same place, the same game. I mean, the
same
two
score.
teams, same score.
Why are we doing this?
We could have just ran last week's tape, right?
Right. Got a little bit of Twilight Zone here.
The only thing different is the wind's going in the opposite direction.
I just run the tape backwards.
And it's a little warmer. A lot warmer.
Can't
Jason
tell that
Dunn
on
goes
tape.
in motion. Again, it's Art Brannigan, and Casey Mahoney, I guess, has still not come back. Trying to see where he is on the sideline.
Oh, he was in on defense,
Okay.
Ken. He came in on
All
defense.
right.
They're probably just being precautionary with 40 seconds left. Give him a rest and not chance any possible injuries here. I think what they'll try to do is run the clock out.
You just leave it alone. He's doing pretty well.
Exactly right.
Clock's running, 25 seconds to go. 2nd and 7. Again, Brannigan across the 25 to about 27. Short of a first down, but that looks like it's going to be the end of the half anyway. It's 8 seconds to go, clock running.
One thing that is very impressive is for 150 pounds, Art Brannigan really hits up in there hard.
And that's going to do it. That's the end of the first half, and a very similar first half that we had last week. Only Lacey scored earlier in the ball game this week, but 7-0 is the score. Lacey leading Central. Tony, you want to recap that scoring play for the Lions?
Right. There's after a punt that left Central Lacey on the Central 45-yard line. The second play of the series, Gary Sasel broke off a 39-yard run for a touchdown. Jason Dunn, here you can see it right here. Just watch him follow his blocks. Watch number 27, Doug Lemanowitz, pick off number 33, Brian McCall, enable Sasel to get into the end zone for the touchdown. And then Jason Dunn kicks the extra point. And there were 8 minutes and 38 seconds left in the first quarter. And that's the only scoring we had. It ended up 7-0 Lacey at the end of the first half.
Now, if you're Central, do you make any changes? You go with what you're doing?
Well, you've got to, I think, have Jason Pozo throw on first and second down, because I don't think, from what we've seen in a game and a half, that Central is capable of running the ball only and winning the game against Lacey because of the tough run defense that Lacey has shown. So I think that they're going to have to come out and open it up, as they did at the end of the half with all the young underclassmen receivers, and then they can come back to the running game.
There you see the Lacey Township marching band, the Lion Band, coming on the field entertaining here at halftime. We're going to wrap it up, and we hope to have Keith Elias join us during the second half, the former All-State running back for the Lacey Lions, and of course All-American at Princeton, and All-Ivy Player of the Year this year for the Princeton Tigers. So we'll come back with the second half. Let's take a timeout, and we'll be right back. You're watching Adelphia Cable, Channel 8, the Princeton All-American and Player of the Year in the Ivy League. Keith, congratulations.
Thanks a lot, Ken.
Keith, you saw the first half. What do you think about your old ball club today? They got a tough defense, and they're clinging to a 7-0 lead.
Well, I think toughness is a key word there. I think that's something that Lacey hangs its hat on. We don't usually come up with the guys with a lot of talent, but we have tough football players. We always field good defensive squads, and I think that's what you're seeing today.
Keith's going to do some color analyzing duties with Tony second half. The wind blows the ball off the tee, and Tommy Loudon's got to tee it up again. And Keith, when you played here, you had to play around the Thanksgiving Day games too, and I remember, I think the only losing game you ever played in as a varsity performer was against Central Regional, right?
My junior year, one game I'll never forget.
Here's the kickoff, end over end, nice kick into the wind, and Lacey Stoop on the return, and he's running hard, and he gets up to the 37-yard line. Go ahead, Keith.
That's toughness. That's what I was talking about. He wasn't looking for any speed, any daylight. Put the head down and let's take them all on.
Might point out Keith's only losing game. He scored 2 touchdowns, I believe, in the first half, and then you had that rib injury, and you didn't play the second half against Central.
Yeah, it was the game after we had already won the state championship. We played Woodrow Wilson here, a game you guys covered. We won the winning field goal, last second Carl Tarracone, and so I was banged up going into the Central game.
All right, here's Lacey, first down. Renato hands off to Gary Sasel across the 40-yard line to the 42. It'll be a gain of about 4.
One of the pluses you see right now for Lacey is number 22, Casey Mahoney's back in the backfield. He was the lead blocker on that play, and it puts Gary Sasala back at his feature position, the tailback position, where he'll run the ball much more.
And he did an excellent job also. He threw a hell of a block.
Pestrocella to the near side, Dunn to the far side for the Lions. Second down and 6. Sasala. And right into Peter Versa. And nowhere to go. They close it down. Keith, this rivalry is still a big one. I guess when you guys played, I guess you talk about the Central game all year, do you?
Absolutely. I mean, no matter what the records are, when you come into this game, you throw them out. And in a year, when both the records are great and you have to play them 2 weeks in a row, when I heard we were playing Central 2 weeks in a row, I was so jealous because the rivalry is that intense.
Third down and about 6. Renato looks to throw. He does. Complete. I believe it's Mahoney, yes. and a gain of maybe 2 yards is going to be short of a first down.
That's good coverage by number 34, Walter Dudley, on that. And Central, once again, after that opening drive by Lacey, has pretty much shut down Lacey's offense, and it's settled down into a struggle for both teams defensively. I think that what's amazing is we're into our 7th quarter, and Central hasn't been able to score on the Lacey defense.
It was a low snap, but Dunn handled it, and he got the punt off. Here's a nice return by Central across the 30 to the 33-yard line. Ed Maturo on the return.
And who made the tackle, Keith? Number 24, Gary Sasel. Keith was talking about the toughness of Lacey, and there you have a running back, the all-county running back, 2 years in a row, and he's downfield making tackles on the punt cover team.
I think that play is something that Lacey has to worry about, because as much as the defense is stopping Central's offense, when you're only winning by 7 points, anything can happen in the game, and special teams is a big factor.
All right, Pozo brings the Golden Eagles out on offense, trailing 7-0 here in the 3rd quarter. Quick pass, drop.
That's about the 3rd pass of the game we've seen dropped.
Yes, and that's been one of the problems that the Central coach has mentioned, that one of the things that has hurt the stats of Jason Pozo is a lot of his receivers sometimes have tended to drop the ball. Now, Ed Maturo, as we saw on the run back of the punt, who does a nice job, is one of the receivers who was hurt early in the year, and he's back, so he's a plus.
That was Fogarty, the youngster, who dropped the ball. 2nd down and 10. Here's Brian McCall and Lacey Township all over the ball carrier. Loss of about a yard. Keith, that defense looked pretty tough there.
That's what Lacey defense is all about. Gang tackling people, last people up off the ground are Lacey guys being on the bottom of the pile, making the hits, swarming defense. That's Ed Heffernan's calling card, and I think also this year we have a very aggressive secondary that's coached by Tom Malik.
I think you have to understand that one of the things that we said early on is we didn't think that Central could run well enough to win the game. They've got to throw.
3rd and 12. Pozo fakes to the back, gets time long, and Walter Dudley, the intended receiver, and Pluta had it well covered for Lacey Township.
Exactly, and once again, you see on that defensive play, number 40, Chris Bergstrom, fighting to get outside to force Pozo to come up and throw the football, so he can't challenge him on the corner where they're not sure whether it's going to be a run or a pass.
All right, Tommy Loudon, the punt for the Golden Eagles. Good snap. Fielded on the 40-yard line by Lacey. And a return across the 50. Nice run by Lacey Township, and that's Greg Brandis on the return.
Once again, maybe Lacey's a tackle away from breaking along when on the special teams, too. And we thought that last week the special teams were the difference in winning the game, the punting and the kicking off of Jason Dunn. And, of course, this week it's been a big plus also.
There you see Ed Heffernan, and was Chris Bergstrom in the background.
Ed Heffernan is the heart of this Lacey defense. He's a man that you can talk to any Lacey alumni, and they have very strong feelings about him.
1st and 10 at the 48 of Central Regional. Gary Sasala, Mahoney blocking. Oh, nice run by Sasala. Looked like 56 Tony McCurry was going to get him behind the line of scrimmage, and he got free.
What you have to understand is that's a play that goes from a 2-yard loss to a 2-yard gain. That's a 4-yard differential, and now you can still work your running game.
Plus, it's a mental pickup. When a team sees your back fighting that hard for yardage, they're going to work that much harder to get some blocks.
Tailback U here at Lacey. Of course, Keith Elias kind of started that tradition. He had Cameron, who was a good tailback. Brian Elias, Keith's brother last year. Now Sasala. I'm going to ask Keith after this play to comment on the running style of Gary Sasala compared to Keith's running style. 2nd down play. Sasala gets the ball. Sasala running hard. He may have a first down, very close, maybe a little bit short. Keith, you want to comment on his style?
Oh, definitely. I think I worked with Gary over the summer, and one of the things I think that he has improved on tremendously is his body lean. I think last year, and when I saw him run, he had a tendency to run a little high and sort of pick and choose his hole. And sometimes I think that you just have to go with the ball, and I think he's done that a lot more, especially on that play. It was good that we started this conversation right after that play, because that was a play where he saw his crack, and he got right up into his crack. He tried to make subtle moves, real quick moves, and don't waste a lot of time making moves. Keep your body lean flow and your knees high and just run hard.
Here's the measurement. Just short, less than a yard.
Now you got 2 downs to get this. What do? You go up top to get a punch one in quick, or do you go for the first down, Keith?
Well, it's 3rd down now, right?
Right, so you got 2 downs. You figure they're in 4-down territory. You've only got about 3 inches. Do you throw the ball to try to go deep and get a quick score?
I think when we're running the ball effectively, I think here's a down where you know you might get the first down, but I think you run right at him. Maybe give it to Mahoney. Maybe he's a bull. See what he can do.
3rd down, Mahoney, the up back in the eye. 3rd and less than a yard. Mahoney gets the call. Keith called it.
I've been around Lacey too long.
And again, once you see him get it, and he might have lost some yardage there too, because Central expected him to get up. That's why I was saying, in that situation, do you take a chance and try to go up top to get a quick score, because Central's coming with a goal line defense. They had 7 men on the line of scrimmage, and their linebackers were real close. Maybe do you go up top and try to get a quick score?
Well, they didn't get the first down. It's 4th and less than a yard. They're going to punt.
That was key.
Or are they? You're going to fake it. Let's see. I think they're going to punt.
That could definitely give
Central late getting the man
life.
off. That may cost them timeout. They do call a timeout. Central takes timeout. 6:01 left to play 3rd quarter. 7-0 Lacey.
That might have been an intelligent timeout, because one of the defensive linemen was running off the field because they'd made the exchange. And if they'd snapped the ball, they'd have gotten a 5-yard penalty and given Lacey a first down. So that might have been a very intelligent call by the defense of Central.
Keith, Elias, what was your most memorable game in your high school career? You won 2 state championships. You won a lot of football games.
I think my junior year, of course, our first state title, is a game that definitely ranks high among my memories, especially in the manner in which we won.
The Woodrow Wilson game?
Exactly. The last-minute pass, the field goal.
You threw your only pass of your career in that game, right?
Well, I threw another pass the year after at Tom's River North and got crushed.
That was unbelievable. Keith threw the halfback pass that set up the field goal by Tarracone that won that state championship. That was the greatest game I ever did on cable.
Final on that was 31-28.
Yes.
One of the greatest games in Ocean County history.
I think also my senior year against Central was such an exciting, emotional game, because the year before they did beat us, and we felt that we were a better team that year. Like I got hurt at halftime. So I think going in, that was definitely an emotional game, and it was a game I felt that we came together as a team before we went into the States.
Central wants some fan support. They're yelling for their fans here to get behind them on this 4th down play.
Lacey's going for it.
4th and less than a yard. They're going to go in the I formation. Mahoney, the tailback. Mahoney gets it. Mahoney's got a first down.
You got to stick with your guns.
Once again, Keith called it very well. He said that Casey Mahoney's a tough runner, and that time they flip-flopped Sasel at the fullback and put Casey Mahoney at the tailback position, because he's such a load. He's over 200 pounds. He's quick, so they give him the ball up inside, and he gets the first down.
The highest compliment I could pay Casey is that for the first time in about 12 years, look at that run. Power. For the first time in about 12 years, there hasn't been an Elias on the Lacey team, because my older brother played for Lacey. And next year, my little brother will be in the high school, but I told Casey before the year starts, this year he's Lacey's honorary Elias.
First down for Lacey Township at the 36-yard line. Gary Sasel cuts it outside, but Central does a nice job. They shut it down very quickly. Steers got in there, number 44, Tony.
Mike Steers, and once again, one of the observations that Keith made at halftime was that Central's defense has been bending, but then when it gets inside the 30s, they've been tightening up and been able to shut down the run, and that's what they've shown all day. The resiliency to bounce back. They've given up some plays, given up some first downs, but they have been able to shut down Lacey when it's been important, when they're in the end zone or in the red area.
2nd and 9 on the play. It was a 1-yard gain. Sal goes in motion. Pitch to Mahoney. Mahoney's got a hole, and Mahoney carries over the 30 to about the 29-yard line. And he's going to be about 4 yards short of a first down, about a 6-yard gain.
I think what you're seeing here is Lacey doing what they do best. They're running the football, but they're running it out of multiple formations, trying to keep Central off balance, not letting them know where they're going to run the ball, bringing it inside and outside, and using both of their backs.
Right, they do use numerous backs, and you can't key on one of them. And I think what I mentioned in the first half, Keith, was what a great job Rich Stratton does with the offensive line, because even when Casey Mahoney went out, they were still able to gain yardage on the ground.
Ball's on the 31. Mahoney takes the toss, cuts it inside, and a flag after the play. Making the stop for Central was Peter Versa, number 75. Parla Panides also in on a stop. Let's see what the flag's all about.
You know what bothers me about that is you could probably call holding on every play, and especially on a play like that. You know, officials sometimes throw flags. I sometimes think you should let the kids play the game.
That penalty can hurt because on an offense, when you're counting on running the ball 4 yards, 5 yards, being on track every down, that'll set you back about 10 yards, and it forces you either to put the ball in the air or do something that's out of your scheme.
Holding penalty, and they march it off against Lacey, 3rd and 9.
But again, that went from the mark, from the spot of the foul, so they're not really in deep trouble. It's still 3rd and 9, but could be a whole lot worse. It was on the line of scrimmage.
Sasel is the wingback on the left side. Stoop wide open at the 15-yard line. That's a first down for Lacey Township.
On that play, what they did is they had 4 wide receivers set, and they had a 3 deep in the secondary, and they just ran Stoop down in the seam. And watch Stoop just open up in the seam, and the middle safety has to read which side. And basically what Coach Emmert, the offensive coordinator, does to his quarterback is he says, look at the safety. Whichever side he breaks to, you throw to the other guy on the seam, and that's exactly what happened. He read the middle safety, Pozo, going to his right, so he threw back to Pozo's left and found Stoop for a big gain.
First down from the 15 for Lacey Township. They lead 7-0. Gary Sasel down near the 10-yard line, stopped at around 11. Parla Panides again, and linebacker Tony McCurry.
Tony McCurry's been a force in 2 games for Central. He's an outstanding linebacker. We can see why he's on the All-Channel 8 team.
Keith, Lou Brasillo, when we talk to him, is very quiet, soft-spoken. Does he get into a real loud, emotional talk ever in the locker room?
There are times when he does let the emotion fly, but I think you talked about Coach Rich Stratton before. I think Coach Stratton and Coach Heff are definitely inspirational leaders and motivational leaders on the team.
Here's the second down play. They toss to Sasel. He bobbled it, but he picks it up, and he may go in. It looks like it may be in. Touchdown, yes.
That was great concentration on the part of Gary Sasel, because when he got the ball and he was bobbling it, it didn't afford him to look up at the hole because he was concentrating on catching the ball. And if he would have lost his poise there, he might have fumbled it, but he kept it in and he brought it in for the score.
Is that an injury or just an injury? Yeah, we think we do have a Lacey injury.
There was absolutely tremendous blocking on that play because not only did Gary fumble the ball, but when he got the ball back in his clutches, the hole was tremendous, and I think that's a credit to the offensive line.
We haven't picked up his number yet. Looks like number 54, the center, or the guard, Jerry Carras. You're right, Steve. So Lacey now leads 13-0, 2:27 left in the third quarter.
Jerry Carras is an important part of their offensive line. He made our All-Channel 8 team, and they're very high on him, both on the offensive line. They think next year at linebacker he'll be also equally as good.
Here's Jason Dunn. And last week's player of the game, Jason Dunn, adds the extra point. 14-0 Lacey.
In a drive that was dominated by the run, I think the key play was the pass.
You can see it right here, the toss. Watch him fumble it, keep his concentration, and get into the end zone.
Excellent run.
As Keith was mentioning, he thinks the toughness of Lacey is one of their important factors, and we know that that's important. Once again, we've got 2:27 left. in the third quarter, and Lacey is going with the wind. In the fourth quarter, Central is going to be able to open it up a little bit with Pozo because they'll have the wind at their back. And the only trouble is now they're down 2 scores. And as Keith said, when you're only up 7-0, a fluke, and now you're losing the football game. But in this situation, Central has to score twice at least to get back in the game.
We have Tony Sermarini and Keith Elias doing co-color commentary here. Keith, I would think, you look at your record, that Lafayette game you played your junior year was your greatest game because you ran for 299 yards and set a record at Princeton for 1 game rushing. But which game did you feel was your best game for the Princeton Tigers?
Well, I think sometimes you have to look at games in 2 ways. One is like, how well did I run? And then the second one is, how successful was I? And my junior year, I had a bunch of games where I was much more successful in terms of yardage, but I think that's because defenses were playing me differently. And I think this year, without the threat of the pass, there was a lot more pressure on myself to perform. But I think looking at my overall performance, I would say I ran my best games, maybe Harvard this year, and Dartmouth last year, and Dartmouth this year, in terms of how well I felt that I ran the ball. Especially Dartmouth last year.
You may need a holder here like we did last week.
I think the wind's picked up a little bit, and again, that's to the detriment of Central being down 14-0. One thing that we mentioned last week is we thought that one of the people that had to step up for Lacey to continue to move the ball offensively was Mike Granato, the sophomore quarterback, and I think that we can see that today. He's thrown the ball more often and much more accurately and with more confidence, and it's helped Lacey's offense.
Here's a kickoff with Simonson the holder. And not much of a return by Central. Lacey gets down very quickly. By the way, Tony, we found out T.J. Hutler, I never knew this, and I grew up with his dad. T.J. Hutler has a twin sister who is co-captain or captain of the cheerleaders here today.
Becky Hutler, and we didn't know that, and Mrs. Hutler, who coaches the cheerleaders, mentioned that to us at halftime, and that's we had no clue that Becky was his twin sister.
I think this is
all boys in your family, or any?
Yeah, all boys.
All boys. No cheerleaders. I guess Nancy was a pretty good cheerleader, though, his mother. Pass over the middle, and it was intended for Ed Maturo, and Chris Bergstrom and Lemanowitz were right there on defense.
One of the things you see on that play is number 40, Chris Bergstrom, who's played such an important role in putting pressure on Jason Pozo, was dropping off. It gives you an idea of the complexity of the defenses used by Coach Heffernan of Lacey.
I think this is a very key series for both squads right now because Central has to get something going.
Second down from the 24-yard line. Pozo throwing Parks. Andy Parks. First down Central at the 43-yard line. Tackle made by Pluta.
And again, as we said, that the short passes, the intermediate passes, the way Jason Pozo throws the ball, it won't be affected. On that play, number 88, Zellman, made a good block.
First down from the 41. Again, Pozo goes to the air. And Lemanowitz intercepts. Doug Lemanowitz at the Lacey 48-yard line.
That was an incredible play by Doug Lemanowitz. First of all, what was key to that play was the fact that the last couple of times Central's quarterback dropped back, he had a lot of time. And that play, he had 2 defenders in his face. He threw it under pressure, and Doug just tipped the ball. A lot of concentration and made a heck of a play.
Good defensive play. But again, what you saw on that play is they brought pressure up inside with number 80, Steve Stoop, coming on a stunt up inside, and pressure from the outside by number 88, T.J. Hutler.
Lacey leading 14-0 late in the third quarter. They take over. Twin wideouts to the near side, I formation. Sasel going wide. Sasel turns the corner, and he picks up 4 yards.
One of the things that they give you is a lot of latitude at Lacey to run the ball where you see the hole. I guess that's what you're Coach Versillo tells you running backs.
Exactly. I mean, you hit it right on the head. Some of the plays that are designed where there's a wide berth of where you can take the ball, front side or back side. And that time, Gary didn't see much front side, used a little bit of speed and got around the corner.
They give him 5 yards on the carry, 2nd down and 5 for Lacey Township. Sasel again gets the call. Sasel 1st down for Lacey.
I think Gary found something he liked.
They found the left side of the line, and he can get some yards, and he's been running, been a very important part of their offense today, the focus of their offense. And even in the second quarter, when Mahoney went out and he had to switch to fullback, he did a good job of lead blocking. I don't think you can say enough for the way Gary Sasel is playing today.
You know, a lot of times when you run the ball hard up the middle like Lacey does, or run those leads to one side, the defensive backfield gets very conscious of filling into the holes and filling in the gaps, and then sometimes they leave the outside a little open.
If you're that successful coming up inside, what happens is those outside linebackers want to get in on the action, and with a quick back like you or like Gary Sasel, once that back or that linebacker makes a commitment inside, you can get around them.
End of the 3rd quarter with a score. The Lacey Township Lions 14 and the Golden Eagles of Central Regional nothing. I'm Ken Turp. With me in the booth, Tony Sermarini and former Lacey Township All-Stater and current Princeton Tiger Player of the Year in the Ivy League, Keith Elias. We'll be back with a final quarter of today's short conference Class B South Championship game in just a moment. Sasel, and he's going to take a loss of about 3 back to the 45-yard line.
Keith, on that play, the problem is the play was up inside. There wasn't much there, but sometimes what you have to take is just nothing, because that time he tried to bounce it outside and lost 3 yards. You want to comment on that?
I think the fact is there's 2 different types of play. The play that Gary was bouncing before with leads where you go up the middle. When you have people pulling, you basically have to stay with the play. And if you can't bounce a counter outside because they block him outside.
2nd down and 13 for Lacey. Sasel right up the middle, and he's hit and thrown for a loss. Tony McCurry, linebacker, 56 in there. Charlie Partapanides, defensive end, 89.
Okay, now you're in a situation where you got 3rd and about 14. You're up 14-0. There are 11 minutes left in the 4th quarter. Keith, what do you do?
My philosophy is you always have to play to win. You know, at this point, you don't sit on the lead and try to run the clock out. There's too much of it left. So I don't think I would run the ball here. I think you definitely have to go with your quarterback. You don't ask him to do that much, but I think here's the play where you got to put it in the ball in the air and try to get the 1st down because you have to play to win.
Okay, I think that when you're up 14-0, your defense has been playing this well, that maybe you don't want to be too dangerous and give them a chance to get back in the game.
Well, you're
that
probably
defense
right.
has been great.
3rd down and 14. Renato on the roll. Renato steps up and throws. Incomplete. Steve Stoop was the intended receiver. He had a defender hit him from behind. He was looking for an interference call, didn't get it.
I think they were all both going for the ball, and that's pretty decent no call right there. Once again, Keith, you called it right. I would have pretty much sat on the ball and get that clock running. I guess that's being an old defensive coach.
Well, you have to have confidence in your players. From a quarterback's mental standpoint, if the call comes in and just run the ball up the middle, he's going to think that the coach has no confidence in his ability.
Jason Dunn with a punt and takes a nice Lacey roll of at least 10 yards, and Lacey waits till it rolls dead. They cover it. So Dunn, who was instrumental in last week's victory, again with a nice punt.
Plus, I think if a defense is playing well, it's more apt to make me less conservative, because if they throw a pick or something happens there, they haven't really moved the ball on you.
Well, Central's got to get something going, and they got to get to work in a hurry here. Last quarter, 10 minutes to go in the ball game. It's 14-0 in favor of the Lacey Township Lions. I formation. Pozo to throw. He does to Andy Parks, the fullback, and he got maybe a yard.
Once again, you have to mention, and we haven't done a great deal because it's tough to see the people in the middle of the line, but you got to mention people like Greg Halsworth, Matt Cutano, Rob Frazee, because they've been in there the whole game, and Central hasn't been able to run the ball. So I think that they have been an outstanding part of this defense for 7 quarters now.
2nd and 9. McCall keeps his footing. McCall, nice run, and he runs hard all the way up across the 35-yard line. First down.
What's been happening is for 2 quarters now, Central has been pass first, run second. The Lacey defense is now starting to loosen up a little bit, and now the run is successful. And that was the best running play of the game. You can see it right here. Watch him keep his balance and just keep going, run through some tackles before number 22, Casey Mahoney's eventually able to drag him down.
First down, the Central 37-yard line. That was Hirschblond, number 27.
Another drop pass. I think that even if he had caught that pass, so it looked like Lacey had that one pretty much corralled. They had Bergstrom coming off the corner and Mahoney stepping up pretty tight.
Oh, so that's a wide receiver's quick screen where you run the one receiver outside, the outside receiver straight down the field. Quick hitch to the inside receiver, then try to run your lineman downfield to block for him.
2nd and 10, McCall around a corner. McCall, another first down. Brian McCall, the top scorer all year for Central Regional. He runs a nice run around the left end.
Right now, Central's having success running the football because they've been passing, and Lacey's sitting in a pass defense look.
Pluta's injured for Lacey Township on the 50-yard line, right in front of the Central bench. Here's a replay, guys.
See it again. It's a counter tray kind of play. You can see number 58 and number 70, Jason Montero, leading that play.
But you see what's on that play. You saw Casey Mahoney all the way on the other side of the field. Counter trade, that's usually a play where your backside backer really has to shine, really try to make a good play on that. And like you said, they're off on the other side doing the trips to the side playing passing game.
Keith, what have you noticed about Central that's different than when you played? We have a new coaching staff. You played
no
defense.
Dillards. That's what I've
No
noticed.
Dillards?
The first thing I noticed was that there were no Dillards. Every year I've seen
They
them play.
finally ran out last year.
There's always been a Dillard around.
And they've always been outstanding athletes also. So again, their speed gave you some trouble when you played Central.
Oh, definitely. You always had to account for where the Dillards were.
Right.
Keith, of all the honors you've had at Princeton, you made all Ivy League. You've made Ivy League Player of the Year. Your honors in high school, you were All-State First Team. You were Channel 8 Player of the Year twice in a row. Which ones meant the most to you of all the honors in your career?
I think being elected captain was a really big honor because it's something that your peers, my peers elected, the guys on the team elected me as a captain.
You talk about here or at Princeton
both,
or both?
At Princeton especially, because it's something the coaches didn't appoint. The guys elected me, and a lot of times what your teammates think of you is more important than what outsiders think of you.
All right, here's the first down play in Lacey territory now by Central Regional. Pozo looking to throw, runs up, he's going to keep it. And he tries to get to the far side. Chris Bergstrom was chasing him. And he gets down to about the 39-yard line, short of a first down.
Central is definitely taking advantage of the fact that Lacey's in the past that they're running the ball, and now the quarterback draw. That was a nice play, and he made a nice move.
Once again, we talked about that quarterback draw. What they try to do is get that drop back so the linebackers get their quick drop out of there. Then their linemen move upfield, turn the defensive lineman out, and he's got some good yards.
8 minutes to go in the football game. Brian McCall again looking for a first down. He's got it. He got to the 35. He should have the first.
Again, the one thing that Lacey doesn't want to do is get too lax in their run defense because that's been the strong part of their game all day. And, of course, for 7.5 quarters now, their run defense has been the stellar part of their defense. And right now, because they're in a pass mode, Central's able to run for some yards.
Central trailing by 14. They got to get a touchdown in this drive. Pozo under pressure gets it off, incomplete. Flag after the play. Maturo, the intended, or I should say Hirschblond, the intended receiver. Pozo was pressured as he threw.
By Frazee, number 78. Once again, that's that wide receiver screen that they tried to run the first time. He came back to the ball. It's almost the thing that Notre Dame used to run when they had Rocket Ishmael.
Let's see what the penalty is. They're talking to Lacey. It's going to go against Central, Tony. They decline it? What happened? They declined it, apparently.
Maybe they called no flag.
All right, maybe it was an inadvertent flag.
Right. Because if not, there would have been some movement. It's 2nd down and 10.
All right. Pozo fakes the Mccall.
Being chased down.
And he's nailed for a big loss.
Number 60, Greg Halsworth came in, but once again the play is made by number 40, Chris Bergstrom, who forced him to pull up. They tried to run the waggle, but Chris Bergstrom took an outside charge, forced 12 Pozo to pull up, and from the backside, Halsworth made the tackle.
The coaching staff is really high on Bergstrom.
Here you can see it right here. Watch Chris Bergstrom take the angle to force him, and then from the backside, number 60, Halsworth was able to make the tackle.
I was going to say that before the play, Central had to continue to make first downs, but someone from Lacey had to come up with a big play to stop this drive.
10-yard loss on the play, 3rd and 20. Back at the 46-yard line. Pozo going long, and incomplete. Maturo and Hirschblond, but looked like he was going to Maturo down the far sideline.
They ran a combination route with those two receivers on that side where they posted one guy and they tried to sneak Maturo down the sideline. He was open. Again, with that wind, it's tough. He got the ball up high, about 50 yards, and the wind just kind of blew it over his hands.
Well, Central's going to punt the ball, Tony. Let's see, the clock shows 6:31 to go.
No, they're not going to punt. They're going to go for it. Jason Pozo's still in the game.
I tried to get Parlopanides in there, and they felt it was too late, and they sent him back. Here we go. Wide receivers to the left, 3 of them.
All right.
Split end to the near side. Pozo looking to the far side. Complete. First down. Central gets the first. Hirschblond.
Excellent catch by Brian Hirschblond, number 27. Grabbed the ball with his hands and pulled it in for about a 25-yard completion. Here it is. You can see it right here. Watch number 12 step up, and then watch the fine catch by number 27, Brian Hirschblond. It's about a 25-yard completion.
And it starts with the pass protection.
Central on the move. Mccall squirts loose, and Mccall picks up some yardage. Got 6 yards. Looked like all of a sudden everything came to a stop, Keith, and he popped right out of there.
It was unbelievable. I thought he was down. Next thing you know, he popped right out of that hole.
Brian Mccall was their leading rusher last week. He gained about 60 yards on the ground. This week, I think he's had about 60 yards in the 4th quarter.
Got 6 on that play. 2nd and 4 for Central. They're inside the 15-yard line. Trying to get on a board here in the final quarter. Pozo gets time. Touchdown, Central. The sophomore, Brian Hirschblond, on the reception. 15-yard scoring play. And Keith, the Eagles weren't to be denied. They gave him plenty of time to throw on that one.
Yeah. I think this game's definitely not over now with 5:40 left. And only up by a touchdown. Lacey's going to have to dig deep and put another drive together. 14-6.
The extra point will be attempted by Tommy Loudon. Jason Pozo will be the holder, and Paul Dasty, defensive tackle, will be the snap man. And it's good by Loudon, and it's 14-7. Lacey.
Okay, that breaks a skein of 7 quarters with no touchdowns by this Lacey defense. Let's see the touchdown. Watch the poise by Jason Pozo, and he puts the ball on the line. The key to that is that's not bad coverage. That's just a good throw. There's no time for the defensive back to react.
Keith, I don't know, you're from Lacey, but tell you about Pozo. He's also the high scorer in basketball. He's a shortstop and pitcher in baseball. So he's a three-sport athlete. And they moved him to defensive back this year when somebody got hurt. So he does a little bit of everything.
Well, he definitely had a nice throw on that play, because like you said, the coverage was there.
Yeah, I think that's what he showed on that drive. And one of the things that Central did is they kicked off into the wind to start the second half so that they would have the wind in the fourth quarter, so they'd have an advantage. And right now, Pozo's taking advantage of that and moving them downfield. But they've mixed it nicely, the pass and the run. One thing that we thought they had to do to score on this Lacey defense.
It seemed like they definitely kept the defense off balance the whole way.
Exactly right. And that's the first time we've seen that in 2 games now.
Loudon to kick off for the Golden Eagles. Sends it end over end to Casey Mahoney to 20, 25, 30, and up to the 34-yard line.
I have just never seen anybody rip through tacklers like he does. He's exciting.
Peter Roselli made the stop, number 21 for Central.
Right.
Now Central's defense got to come up with the defensive plays to hold Lacey. You want to watch this again?
Here's the kickoff again. Just watch number 22. Just run through tackles right there. And if Roselli doesn't make an ankle tackle, he keeps running.
I think here's the time where Lacey's got to be in the huddle and just say to themselves, hey guys, we can move this ball. Let's be poised and let's get the job done.
First down to 34. Sasel on first down, gets 2. Crosses the 35, so about the 36.
That touchdown was an emotional lift for Central, because right now they're fired up.
Lonnie Howe made the stop.
And that's why I said they can't let the momentum shift here. They have to say, hey, we can move the ball to these guys, and let's just get the job done, and let's have fun doing it.
One thing they want to do right now is keep that clock moving and get a first down, because if they do that, now they force Central into the position where Central has to start using their timeouts, which won't give them much time to come back.
We have an equipment problem with Gary Sasal's helmet strap, and we have a timeout, 4:45 left to go in the game. 14-7, Lacey. I'm Ken Terp. With me, former Southern coach Tony Sermarini and former Lacey All-State running back Keith Elias. And we have a good one here again today.
The refs are actually stopping the game for the equipment. You won't see that in college. If your equipment's not working, you just have to put another player in or not go with it.
Well, they give you a short amount of time to fix that equipment and put you back in, and that's what they did right now. Number 24, Gary Sasel. The one thing that Lacey doesn't want to do right now is stop the clock.
Second down and 9. Boyer leads the offensive line up over the ball for Lacey Township. Full house, power eye backfield. Sasel behind Mahoney. Lonnie Howe again makes a stop. Sasel crosses the 40, and he picks up about 4.
One of the defensive adjustments made by the Central staff as they came into this game to stop the run, and we saw it on that play. They have a 5-man front with 4 linebackers. There are 9 people within 3 yards of the line of scrimmage. They only have 2 safeties deep to stop that run.
This might be the biggest play of the game, because you really don't want to turn the ball over to the Central offense right now when they have a little momentum and they have a little confidence.
That's exactly right.
3rd and 4 at the 41. Power eye once again. Everybody in tight. Pitch to the tailback, Sasel. Mahoney again blocking and catching him from behind. Once again was Lonnie Howe, who's been in on 3 straight tackles for the Golden Eagles.
He's fired up, and you can see him running back on the field with all kinds of emotion. But again, that touchdown gave Central a great deal of emotion, and I think that they failed to get the first down, so I think Lacey's in a punt situation.
Central on that play only had 2 guys deep. They were definitely trying to take away a run. As a running back, that's sort of like a play that I like, because there's no second level. If you break that, you have a good chance to break it all the way. I think Gary, at that point, he's got to bring that up a little tougher.
It was 4th and 1, and Lacey punted it away, and they cover it. It was 86 Bender, the tight end, on the coverage.
On plays where you have a lot of people crowding the line of scrimmage, it doesn't give you the luxury to read on the play. Gary's got to learn. He's got to on that play. He's got to put his head down and get some positive yards, break some tackles, and he's got to get that first down. game it turned out to be.
Well, we got a barn burner. Central trailing by 7. They have the ball. 3 minutes and 28 seconds of playing a football game. Short conference championship on the line. Pozo gets the time. Throws complete to Zellman. I want to say Zender because we got Bender at tight end. And Zellman picks up the first down. He is a junior. Right in.
That was an excellent throw because Casey Mahoney was in good coverage, but Jason Pozo, number 12, just put it over his outstretched hands into the arms of Jim Zellman, number 88.
44-yard line of Lacey, first down. Keith Danduddy has brought that brick offense that he coached at Brick. The 2 tight ends usually. Now this time, of course, they go to the wide receivers. Pozo, quick out. And he's got it at the 36. Clock continues to run. He did not get out of bounds.
That's number 20, Tim Fogarty, the sophomore with a reception, taking the ball down to the 35-yard line. But again, what Lacey wants to do is give him 5-yard gains and keep that clock running.
2nd and 1. Ball's right on the 35-yard line. What a ball game. No overtime today, guys. Gets the time. Hirschbaum, first down at the 21-yard line. Lots of time for the quarterback, Pozo.
He's doing a nice job, but I think they're only putting a 4-man pass rush on and dropping everybody back. The only trouble is when you give Jason Pozo time with his strong arm, he'll pick up a hole in that seam. Just watch him gun the ball, and you can see Lacey people all around, but when you can throw the ball that accurately with that kind of velocity, it's very difficult for a defensive back to close on it to either intercept or knock it away.
Senior to the sophomore. Pozo, the quarterback, to the sophomore. Hirschbaum. Central on the move, trying to tie this game up or win it. On the 20. Again, he gets time. Incomplete. At the 4-yard line.
Looking for number 13, Ed Maturo.
Keith, what do you think? You think Lacey's got a blitz Pozo? He was getting a time there.
For a bit, I was looking at Coach Happ, seeing if he wanted to take a timeout, try to regroup the forces, but I think that incomplete pass can give us a little bit of poise. I think somebody on Lacey's side has to come up and make a big play.
Second down and 10 at the 20. 14-7, Lacey. 1 minute, 51 seconds to play. Pozo again a throw. He does, incomplete.
And that time Lacey brought somebody on a pass rush. They brought Steve Stoop on a middle stunt, but again, he was picked up very well by Central.
As you talk about blitzing the quarterback, the only problem with that would be is you'd have to get single coverage on the wideouts out here, and these guys seem to have a little bit of speed with them. It puts a lot of pressure on the secondary, and with Lacey's secondary coach, Coach Malik, conspicuous in his absence, I don't think you want to put that much pressure on the defensive backs.
Tried to go to Walter Dudley, the wingback. Pestrocella covered on the play. 3rd down and 10. Pozo, incomplete. 3 Lacey defenders around the play.
And Mahoney on the coverage.
The only thing that you have to say about that is that if you don't blitz him, if he gets time, it's so difficult for those defensive backs to react because he throws the ball so hard.
I think the 4th down, I think it might not be a bad time to heat him up.
Bill Simonson was the main man covering on the play, the safety for Lacey. 4th down and 10. This is it for Central. 1:43 to go. Plenty of time. Incomplete. Lacey breaks it up. At the goal line,
Doug Lemanowitz, number 27, made an excellent play. He stepped in front of the receiver and knocked the ball away.
Doug is definitely one of the pride of the defense. He's the best defensive back Lacey has. He made a big interception before. He's a team leader, and he came up big when they needed it.
You can see it here. You can see he steps up and tries to throw to number 27, Brian Hirschbaum, and number 27 from Lacey stepped in front and knocked the ball away.
It was tough to see on the replay, but there was no way they were going to complete that pass. Doug was in perfect position.
1:39 left to play in a football game. The clock is stopped on the change of possessions and the incomplete pass. 14-7 Central, and Pozo again had plenty of time to throw.
Well, they didn't bring anybody. They dropped everybody off and did a good job.
Lacey takes over at the 20-yard line, and now they've got to hold on to the football and run out the clock. What a ball game.
Central is using their timeouts wisely. They're calling that timeout. They might get a chance to get this ball back one more time.
If you're Lacey's offense, this is not a time to sit on the ball or wear out the clock. You have to get a first down. That's the way you have to think. You have to go into the huddle. You have to accept this challenge. You have to say, hey, I want the ball. I want to get this first down, and I want to win this football game. I want to win the football game with my offense on the field.
Timeout. Lacey comes over to Lubersulo. Central ran Dan Duddy on the other side, and Vinny Casal. And a tie would have given Central the B Division championship. I don't know if they would have played for a tie.
Well, what would you do?
What would I do?
What would you do? What would you do, Keith?
I'd want to go for the
win. A tie gives you the championship of B South. Would you kick the extra point if they had scored a touchdown, or would you go for the win?
If it's any other team, maybe, but Lacey, you get the tie and you get your championship, I think. I like to say to go, I always go for the win. I always like to get the outright win, but when
you've had your team now, you've got them in a position to win a championship, and I think that's what you owe to them. You've got to get them that championship. I think you go for the 1 point, because for your kids, it gets them a championship. If you lose, they get nothing.
Exactly. That's why my first reaction was you got to get the 1.
You've got to get the 1, because they've got to feel, Central has to feel, if they had scored, get that championship, because Lacey still has something to play for down the road.
And Lacey also trying to preserve an undefeated season here today. 2nd down and 9. 1 minute, 32 seconds left in the football game. Quarterback on a reverse here. And he crosses a 21. Central reacts pretty good. But,
right. Number 29 made the play. The sophomore, John Tice, tackled the sophomore from Lacey, Mike Granado. Again, a gutsy call.
It was a great call. You know, and for a while there, it seemed like he had the whole field in front of him.
Right, but again, Tice, who's a very quick and athletic sophomore, reacted well to hold him to about a 1-yard gain.
Again, we have a timeout here with 1:22 left in the football game, 14-7. Keith, before you leave us at the end of the game, tell the fans now where you're going to be playing now in the postseason. When?
On Christmas, December 25th. I guess it's 11 o'clock in either ABC or CBS. I'm playing in the Blue-Gray game in Alabama. And then January 8th, I'll be in the Tokyo Dome playing in the Epsom Bowl in Japan. And then January 15th, I'll be in Palo Alto, California, Stanford University for the East-West Shrine game.
That's a real nice visit, because you get to visit the crippled children that the Shrine sponsors that game for.
Right.
And it's quite an experience from talking to people who played in that game, Keith. I think you're going to like that.
I'm really looking forward to it, because it is sort of a reward for the hard work and the things you've done, the things you've accomplished, but also it's an opportunity to show that I can play with, kids from different schools and show that I can play on any level.
Ed Marinero from Cornell played in that game. And, of course, Keith's going to get a chance to play with the guys he played against for 3 years when he goes to Japan. Fiedler of Dartmouth, your nemesis, will be your teammate, right?
Exactly. I'm really looking forward to that also. But here we go, biggest play of the game.
Here we go, 1:22 to go, 3rd down and 8. Sasel strings it out. Sasel runs out that clock and picks up a first.
It's close.
Takes that time off the clock. 1 minute and 12 seconds still running.
Here's where the spot, the all-important spot comes into play.
Okay, one of the things that Keith said earlier, that Gary Sasel has to step it up here and run hard in this situation. I think right there we saw him stepping it up a little bit.
Did you see the difference?
Right.
Before, when he brought it over here, he was picking and choosing.
He didn't pick and choose.
That time he got on his horse and he said, okay, let's get the shoulders upfield, let's get north and south, let's get our yardage.
I think that it's very impressive run by Gary Sasel, who's done an outstanding job running the football for Lacey today.
And did you see the lead block by Mahoney?
Yes.
And that's it. First down. Casey Mahoney was a man on that play.
Help us pick the players of the game.
Right.
We'll have the players of the game on a post-game show. We got to think about that, offensively, defensively. Don't forget the defensive line. They did a heck of a job. If you want to go 3 players, we'll give 3 plaques out. Tony's voting. Let's think about that defense today because they got some great plays up front here. All right, you like him? Anybody else? You want to go with 2?
2's good.
All right. Keith, you want to announce the defensive player of the game?
Absolutely, it's my pleasure. Defensive player of the game for Lacey, number 27, Doug Lemanowitz.
And Tony?
The offensive player, number 24, Gary Sasel. I think not only has he scored 2 touchdowns, but he's made some important runs here in the 4th quarter to help run this clock out and pretty much cinch this game for the Lacey Lions.
Also, I'd like to add that the lines on both sides of the ball played extremely well.
Well, I mentioned these linemen. Rob Schinder, Jerry Carras, our all-star this year. Chuck Boyer, the center. Mike Dolan, Jr., he'll be back. Right guard, Rich Diab, junior tackle. Bender, tight end. Defensively, Rob Frazee, Greg Halsworth, Matt Catano, T.J. Hutler. They all played a great game today.
And of course, Casey Mahoney turned in his usual stellar performance.
35 seconds, clock running.
And this is the way you want to end it. You want to end it with, like I said before, with your offense on the field. You put them a challenge, you gave them some adversity, and they came through on a 3rd and 9. They ran the ball, and they came through with a big first down. This is the way you wanted to end it if you were Lacey, with your offense on the field.
Can you announce our players for the game? Got them?
Congratulations.
Well, that's going to be it. The clock's running down, and Lacey's going to stay undefeated. They are the Shore Conference Class B South champions, and they play next week for the state championship, South Jersey.
Against Egg Harbor Township, which again is a big revenge game for Lacey because Egg Harbor came up here last year and was able to knock off Lacey.
All right, I'm out of here. I got to go celebrate.
Keith, you want to present one of the awards on the show?
Absolutely, I'll come back
Keith's
around.
Keith's going to join us on a post-game show. And Tony, heck of a football game, and I'll tell you, Dan Denny's got to be proud of the Golden Eagles because they didn't quit again today. They came back in the last quarter, they scored, and they've had a heck of a season, even though they got 2 losses.
I thought they had a great season. I don't think that there's anything for these boys to hang their heads about. When you play your best and you don't quit, that's what the game's about, and that's what Central showed today. I think that's a credit to Dan Duddy and his staff. They held their heads high. They never let down. They had a game plan. They tried to stick with it. Again, I think sometimes this win might have hurt them more than it hurts Lacey because passing is a very integral part of the Central offense, whereas it's not that important to Lacey. But again, Lacey played hard, but so did Central, and both teams have a great deal to be proud of.
Central goes to 7 wins, 2 losses, and 1 tie to round out their season this year.
Right.
And Lacey has 9 wins and a tie, no losses on their record. There you see the trophy for the Shore Conference, I believe.
It's probably
that's one of those
that's the
JC awards.
Right, that's one of the JC awards. I don't think they have that other trophy yet.
Okay, there you see Lou Bersillo with a Notre Dame hat on there,
right.
and the ball in his hand. And happy scene for the Lacey Township squad. They give out a JC award every year in this game, the Thanksgiving Day game. And across the way, of course, Dan Duddy talking to his Golden Eagles. And for you Central fans, you got to be very pleased with the way Duddy has turned the program around. And they're going to be there every year. There's Bergstrom, number 40.
Well, you know,
and,
going back,
T.J. Hutler, 88 on the right.
Going back to what we were talking about, you know, it's very important to realize that there are a lot of underclassmen playing for Central. So you not only are you playing in a championship game in your last game of the year, but also you got a lot of these boys coming back next year, and that's going to be a big plus. Central is going to be a threat next year in B South.
This will hold Lacey's spot as the number 1 team in Ocean County. They're probably going to win their Ocean County championship again this year. They've won it the last 2 years. Now, Tony, recap very quickly the scoring in this ball game, and then we'll get down to the post-game show.
Okay, in the first quarter, with the 8:38 remaining in the first quarter, Gary Sasala went for a 39-yard touchdown run. You can see it right here on the air. You watch him run. You see Doug Lemanowitz throwing a big block. and just Jason Dunn kicks the extra point, 7-0 Lacey. Second quarter, no more scoring, so the half ended 7-0 Lacey. In the third quarter, with 2:27 left, once again, Gary Sasel on a 13-yard TD run, and of course the extra point, Jason Dunn, 14-0 Lacey. And at that point, it looked very dark for Central, but they came back with 5:40 remaining in the fourth quarter, a 14-yard pass from Jason Pozo to Brian Hirschbaum, the extra point by Tom Loudon. The score is 14-7, and then of course the knockdown by Lemanowitz to end the game, and the final was 14-7 Lacey.
All right, we want to thank Keith Elias for sitting in with us. He may join us on a post-game show. I know he wanted to get down there and congratulate his old team. And Tony's heading down. I want to thank our crew today. Director of this event was Ed Sr., and I know I saw Mary Jen Beach here today, Tony and Tessa, Mike Philbin, some of our crew, Chris Urania, we want to thank them. Chris Urania, I mentioned, and the rest of the crew behind the scenes for Channel 8 football. One more game a week from Saturday here at Lacey, 1 o'clock. It'll be Lacey hosting Egg Harbor in a South Jersey Group 3 state championship game, a replay of last year's final, won by Egg Harbor, 14-0. We'll be back with the players of the game in just a moment. All right, here in the post-game show, first thing I'm going to do is ask Keith Elias, the former Lacey standout and current Princeton Tiger, to his summation of today's game.
Oh, it was excellent coming home. I had such a thrill out of watching my old school play. I felt the old juices flowing. It was a tremendous game, and just like it always is between Lacey and Central, and all in all, I had a great time.
All right, Keith, why don't you introduce our defensive player of the game and interview him.
All right. This is Doug Lemanowitz, defensive player of the game for Channel 8 today. And Doug, first of all, I'd like to ask you what it was like playing the same team 2 weeks in a row, especially with championships on the line.
Oh, wow. It was a total rush. Just had to get up. Everybody talking to town that we couldn't do it again, that they're just going to come back and tear us apart. And we had to get emotional. We had to get together. And we were a little stuck in the beginning, but, man, we picked it up, and we kept it. In the halftime, we really talked it out. We got together.
All right, nice. Now, I want you to take us through both your interception, which was a really key point of the game because we had just scored and Central trying to come back, nice interception, and also the last knockdown, which is probably the biggest play of the game when Central looked like they might be going in for a second score. Why don't you talk us through those two plays?
Okay, the interception, we were in a zone coverage, and we had a great feeling they were going to bring that tight end